Our fourth team, Team Liquidify, tackle the challenge area of water sector energy transition, and they comprise of Matthew Bond, Jonathon Kissick, Magenta Perus, Sid Shrestha, and Dennis Lee. Dennis, please explain your solution.
Thank you, Nick. Wastewater. Sounds like a load of poo, doesn't it? But what if we could turn those poos into profits? Australian water utilities are changing their business models to achieve net zero emissions targets while maintaining good value for customers. They are looking for renewable energy and resources recovery solutions to power the water infrastructure for our growing population. Wastewater to energy systems are playing a major part of the strategy. But in our interviews with stakeholders, we realized that finding the right people to develop these systems isn't easy. So we've made a platform to help build quality partnerships and turn wastewater into a valuable commodity. It will crowdsource data to create feasible projects and deliver better community outcomes. Take the plunge and share your data on Liquidify.
Climate change is a challenge of our generation. To avert disaster, a step change is required. We must eliminate emissions from every imaginable human activity. In Australian cities, wastewater treatment accounts for nearly 40% of total energy used for water supply. This is estimated to grow up to 200% by 2030. So how can we support increased wastewater treatment and energy recovery to combat climate change?
Introducing Liquidify, an open data platform to transform the way we think about wastewater. Liquidify will empower water utilities to achieve their net zero targets by engaging and collaborating with key stakeholders. Water utilities will share their open data to get feedback on wastewater to energy project ideas. Businesses can then help to develop feasible solutions. And ESG investors can identify opportunities to finance. Government and regulatory bodies would review projects with a collaborative approach, and when the project is firmed up, customers can engage with water utilities to achieve better community outcomes. This marketplace of ideas will turn wastewater from an underutilised resource into a valuable commodity.
Working in partnership with the water utilities, Liquidify will launch in one state before rollout across Australia and the world. It can even be expanded beyond wastewater to energy projects. We think the water industry needs a shake-up. We want water utilities to take the plunge and turn their poos into profits. Liquidify. Open data, opening opportunities.
Thank you, Dennis and Team Liquidify, for a very fluid pitch. Alan, very keen to hear your thoughts on this one too.
Again, a totally novel approach to a really significant problem. A couple of questions. You're putting it to us that there's not enough communication in the industry, that you discovered that when you went out and spoke to them. I just wonder about why there's a lack of communication and you feel that you need to come in and solve it. I mean, all the companies have an ambition. They've got access to the internet. What are you going to give them in say, slightly more tangible terms? What are you going to give them that they can't get through normal means?
Great question, Alan, and thank you for it. I'm going to direct this one to Sid and see if he will be able to discuss more about how to create successful projects and the key takeaways that we want out of this platform.
Thanks, Dennis and Alan, for the question. I think there is, as you said, Alan, a lot of data sharing that's already happening, but I believe it happens in silos. So companies generally only talk to a couple of companies that they know or that they've heard of. So the objective with this platform is you put your data, open it up to the wider world, and then there's a more possibility that you will get companies you've never heard of, new startups that come up with innovative solutions that allow you to, do these projects which you may not have thought is possible. So it's basically opens up possibilities by opening up the problem to the wider world.
And you said that you would go from one state to Australia and then global. So that's a longitudinal expansion. Would you expand laterally into other industries?
Yes, Alan, great question. And yeah, we've seen this crowdsourcing platform work in various situations. Obviously, the water industry is very collaborative as it is at the moment, but we think that it's definitely an opportunity. You could expand it to energy sector and to basically anywhere else that requires crowdsourced solutions and feedback on whether a project is feasible or not. And from there, going through the regulatory process, getting community feedback and turning into a success.
How much accessible energy is there in wastewater? I mean, it's pretty dilute. Are there tangible projects that you know of that could provide a significant return for money invested?
Yes, great question, Alan. And I'll direct this one to Magenta. We had a chat with Barwon Water, one of the stakeholders, and yeah, they were able to give us an example of some of their projects.
Yeah, definitely. So specifically with our conversations with people in industry, including Barwon Water, there are a couple of examples. So when we think of this platform and some of the outputs and inputs which goes into it, there's a couple of different avenues which I guess many different stakeholders can benefit from. So for example, some inputs would be taking trade waste from an external entity which is trying to get rid of their trade waste, which would normally, they would have to spend a lot of money to get rid of through business as usual methods. So taking that waste, which is highly concentrated and is I guess, energy dense from another entity, which would normally just be disposed of, that kind of is turned into a certain commodity because we're producing energy out of the end of the total process. This energy can then be used by water utilities themselves, so reducing their electrical bill at the end of the day, which they can also then use some of that fuel to sell to other entities as well. Outside of that, though, there are also waste outputs which come from the waste to energy process, which can then be sold onto agricultural entities, which can then also use that and benefit kind of in more of like a circular economy kind of way as well. So yeah, we definitely feel that there are definitely examples. So Barwon Water have got a organics recycling initiative which kind of uses something similar. So we believe it's definitely would be able to, yeah.
Right, Magenta, we're short of time. Simone and Peta, just nod, shake your head. Okay, we're done then. So thank you so much. We look forward to one day seeing something like that actually on the market. It'd be wonderful.
Thank you again, Team Liquidify, and to the judges for their comments.